Alright guys, today I just kind of wanted to throw around some thoughts about photo reading. When dealing with subjects like this, there is no fact. It's more about hypothesis, theories, good ideas. And I would like to hear your feedback, and maybe you might get some, I don't know, good thought process or something from this video, or renewed thought process of this video. So everybody is trying to photo read. There's no problem with that. I totally think it's possible, and I have a theory as to why it's possible. But when really thinking about it, is it efficient? See, we want to take something created to be read by the left brain and use the right brain to interpret it or whatever else. Well, really, honestly, that's not really as efficient as we thought. That whole quote, "A picture's worth 1,000 words." I believe that completely. So, why not just use a picture? Why try to quickly grab 1,000 words like a picture when you really could just sum the whole thing up as a picture? It doesn't make sense. That's why the right brain has issues doing it, and then the right brain, it's something that just absorbs. So there is no meaning. The only reason why it takes so long for us to read is because while we're reading, we're trying to actually get meaning. The right brain, it just takes it all at once, but there's no meaning there. So wouldn't it still take as long to get the meaning if you're moving it from the right brain to the left brain? It's like, okay, now I got all the information, but it's still going to take for a long time for me to get the meaning of it. And if it takes me, I don't know, 2 weeks to read a book, won't it take 2 weeks to get the meaning? I don't know. So those are just some thoughts about why photo reading is most likely possible, but is it still practical? It doesn't make sense. And like I said, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, I know it's just a quote, but think about it. Why not just use a picture? I'm thinking that I know the books are already written. We don't want to sit down and have the time to read it. We don't want to go through all that. And if I was going to school and I have to study, I want to get it in bulk. So yeah, I mean, there is practical usage behind photo reading. You can't deny the fact, though, that from the beginning it was really for the left brain, and making the right brain do it is not going to speed anything up too much, unless it's just regurgitation and that's all you need. If, let's say, that guy who is autistic, he drew all of Rome from memory, there was no meaning behind that. He probably didn't know exactly what he was drawing. All he needed to do was regurgitate. Something like that, okay, maybe. But if you need to read a 850-page novel on something English related where you got to interpret, you're still screwed. So I just wanted to point that out. Right. So I already stated why it's possible, but why it's inefficient. If you want some insight on how to actually start doing it, look at things that we could already do. Photo reading works on the principles of taking information stored in the subconscious and making it conscious material. Well, we do that every day. We just don't do it for this. We do that for things like our name. We do it for habits. We do it for many different things. So instead of putting new information in the subconscious, trying to find it, why don't you just tag it on old information, right? For instance, we know that the conscious can only hold a certain amount of information. In comparison, the subconscious can hold a lot of information. I'm not really going to throw around numbers here because, like I said, there's nothing factual when dealing with something like this. It's just, we know that in proportion, this is small, this is big. So if the conscious holds a small amount of information, then the subconscious is holding everything else, pretty much everything else that you are. So if I ask you your name, that wasn't in your conscious, you pulled that from your subconscious. It's in you. Well, if you tag on relatively new information to something that's in your subconscious, it is pretty much cemented in your subconscious as well. And I have a way of doing this. Pretend that your name is a very small table. So you can set something very small on it. You know, my name is in my subconscious. I store whatever I want to remember on my name, but it has to be as big as my name. If it's bigger, I'll just remember the name and forget what's sitting on it. Just like a big box can't sit on a small table. However, if I have a very huge structure in my subconscious, then it can support bigger, newer, relevant information. And from that, I had a few ideas. I'm not going to tell all about it because, the ideas I might want to use for something, I don't know, marketing or whatever. But if I made a big structure in my subconscious, let's just call it, I don't know, a brain map or something that is so grafted into my subconscious that I can pull it out at will. Then I store things, maybe like a house or something, and I store things inside that house. Then I have room. It's just like my name. I know it that well, but it's bigger than my name, so it can store bigger pieces of information. If I want the ability to store vast amounts of information, I increase the size of things that are already stored in it, and I pull that out. And if I pull that out, whatever new information I put in with it comes out with it. That's just the thought, just the theory of how I could have instant photographic memory. So you're going to have to do some work on yourself, making a structure big enough to support the new things that you put inside of it. But like I said, start with your name. A quick test. Have somebody say that I'm going to associate your name with something completely irrelevant and random. And next time they ask you for your name, then they're going to also ask you, what did I associate with it? And you're going to think, well, that's so small, why wouldn't I remember it anyway? Well, that just shows you on some level you're already working on the system. Just work on expanding it. All right, that wraps it up for this session. I might do a part 2, or I might move on. Leave comments, subscribe, and give me ideas on other things I can just ponder about, and we could talk it up. All right, see you later. Wait, damn, there I go again. I be tripping, I be flipping, I be so belligerent. Man, this shit that we be fighting over so irrelevant. I don't even remember though, I was probably hella bent.